This is the 2025 Range Rover SE. Is this the SUV of your dreams? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm at Land Rover of Shreveport to give you the particulars on this Range Rover. If you want to know more, make sure to check out the link down in the description of the video. When it comes to the overall look, well, it looks classic Range Rover. That's a good thing. Nobody's going to question what you're driving, whether you're going down the road or it's sitting in your driveway. And it has a really nice combination of a Fuji white exterior and deep garnet on garnet interior. I hope the camera does a good job of picking this up. I feel like maybe this area right here by the seat belt with the door pillar is going to give you a great look at what those colors actually look like. We'll take a closer look at the interior as we work our way through the video, and you might be surprised at how many great features are here. Full LED lighting, it's going to help you out driving after dark. Headlights, daytime running lights. You also have your fog lights down there on the lower portion of the bumper, and it's nice to have something that doesn't really look like everything else on the road as far as the overall look of the vehicle goes, but also the design of the headlights, the daytime running lights, and all of those great features. And you're going to have all-wheel drive. How about our tire and wheel size? Well, as far as your width goes, we're looking at 285. We have a 40 series sidewall. And before anybody jumps in the comment section and makes their correction, no, these are not 21-inch wheels. They are 23-inch wheels, which are optional. If you didn't option in those 23-inch wheels, yes, they would be 21 inches. But that's what we have in this case. And a lot going on here with our side view mirrors. We're going to have the turn signal indicators built in. They're heated, they're power adjustable, and let me hit the button here on the remote to show you that they are also power folding. You will also find your blind spot monitoring built in. And the door handles, deployable. A nice feature that isn't just meant to look cool or be cool, but it's also going to help out with aerodynamics when you reduce the drag that this creates, having those door handles deployed like that when you're driving down the road. So that's a nice thing to have. Also, the gloss black roof and those gloss black mirror caps really helps to make things stand out, especially against this Fuji white exterior. And one thing that's interesting here, you'll have to tell me what you think about this. There's no kind of vents or anything like that on the hood or on the fenders. In my personal opinion, I think that's a good thing because of the fact that I'd rather not have those vents unless they're going to be functional. But again, just my personal opinion. A very clean look here on the rear window with the lack of the exposed window, rear window wiper that would normally be in this area on a lot of vehicles. That doesn't mean it's not here. It's actually just tucked away inside of the rear roof spoiler right there. And we finish things off, again, a very clean look back here, your LED tail lights. We don't have the exposed exhaust back here unless you get down here and look. You don't really have the vents or anything like that, or should I say finishers, exhaust vents. Let's get vents out of my mind there. The exhaust finishers that would normally come all the way out to the rear back here. I guess that's a good thing. It does give it a nice clean look, and I can hear some of you saying, you know, Tom, I'm really not worried about exhaust outlets or finishers or anything like that. Just tell me about what's under the hood. Well, in my opinion, it's the best option available for this model. It's the 4.4 liter 8-cylinder engine. It is turbocharged, and it makes a stout 523 horsepower and 553 pounds-feet of torque. I just unlocked that, or removed the cover right there to show you what's there instead of leaving it in place. Nice to know that you can do that. It's all made into an 8-speed automatic transmission. Let's see what you can expect on your MPGs. Not that that's a big deal here, but people are going to ask if I don't say something. And we're looking at 18 miles per gallon city, 23 highway, 19 combined, and 5.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Speaking of gas, something you don't hear about a lot in these vehicle review videos is the gas tank size. In this case, it's 23.8 gallons, and you don't have capless fuel fill, you have a gas cap. I know based on comments I've received from a lot of you in the past that is what you'd rather have. And there was so much to talk about earlier with the mirrors and the deployable door handles that I forgot to tell you that you also have soft close doors. And if you're curious about what that is, well, there's what that is. You don't have to slam the doors hard at all. You barely even have to close them, and the doors will go ahead and finish everything up for you. That's on all 4 doors, in case you were curious. And how about practical usability? If you want to tow something with your Range Rover, you can tow as much as 7,716 pounds. We have our split tailgate here. Cargo capacity will come in at 31.9 to 83.5 cubic feet. When you maximize everything, you can push the buttons right over here, and that will allow the seats to lower down. And that's what I'm doing right there, just lowering one side down so you can see one side up and one side down. There's a lot here. I'm not going to remove everything, but underneath the floor is something very important to a lot of you, and I can understand why. It's a spare tire, and it's a full-size spare, which makes it even better. We also have our adjustable air suspension back here. I'm going to raise the back of the vehicle up. Depending on your situation, that may be something you need to do, or you may need to lower it, but it makes it so much easier to load and offload cargo. You can see the difference, the back end of the vehicle, the back end of the Range Rover sitting up nice and high, or we can go ahead and lower things, which doesn't take much time. We're just going to push the button right here. It's probably way too loud out here for you to be able to hear the air being released on the air suspension, but I'm going to give that just a second. We're going to let that lower all the way down, and now you can see the difference. That's very easy to see. So depending on your situation, your needs, well, there's what you can do. And having the split tailgate right here, well, it helps in the tailgating situation, or a multitude of things, because you have the lights up here shining down, so that could be used after dark. Whatever the case is, very nice area, plenty of space, seems to be pretty comfortable. When it comes to closing everything up back here, you can push this button and it will close both areas at the same time. And for those who are not fans of conventional size sunroofs, you will find the panoramic sunroof here. That front portion, this area will open, and you had the power shade. It can be drawn back and forth depending on whether you want all that light coming into the interior or maybe not. And there is the shade for those who wanted to see that drawn forward. And as we work our way over here to the door panel on the passenger side rear door, you can see a better view of that color with the interior color. Looks a little bit better than what we saw in the front, at least it does through the camera for me. Now, we will find some silver surround, which is nice for those who are not big fans of chrome. Quite a bit of silver surrounding the door bin and other areas right here. Now, you might wonder what these are for. This is actually not functional. That's more of a decorative sort of thing right there. But you do have a control right here that controls the recline built into these rear seats. Let me see if I can give you a good view of that. So this side is reclined all the way back, and we have the left-hand side here on the driver's side all the way up. And you'll also find, let's see if I can pull this down from this angle. There we go. The armrest, we'll put the lid down right there just so that we can have that in place and do everything in order. So you're going to have your cup holders right there that are concealed away until they are needed. And then, there we go. We can open the lid on the storage area. It's not real deep. There's not a ton of space there, but there is a little bit. That's nice to have. And obviously that is going to be the armrest as well. And we'll find the air conditioning vents here. You have a total of 4 zones of climate control, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. As you can see, you can adjust fan speed, but more important to me is the fact that not only do you have the heated seats here in the rear, but also ventilated. I really like that. I think that is a great feature to have. You're going to have some connectivity down there with USB connectivity and a power outlet. Now, something that's interesting here, when you look on the rear of the front seats, you might think those are some kind of screens, but believe it or not, that is not what they are. They're actually fold-down trays right here. Kind of an interesting thing. One of the options of different available things you can have back here that connect into this area. Sometimes we see this area without anything connected into it and people wonder what that's for. Well, that's what it's for. There's different things you can buy and put right there, but That way, your rear seat passengers can take advantage of those trays for, well, whatever they basically want. There is plenty of space back here, that's for sure. A lot of leg space, a lot of headroom, and a little bit of storage space additional to the door bins with the rear seat pockets. And something that might be considered practical use. When you drop the hammer on that 4.4 liter turbocharged 8-cylinder engine, here's an oh crap handle. There's one at every single door so that your passengers can grab on when they're surprised by all that horsepower and torque that they may not be expecting this model to have. And good for those of you who made it to this point in the video and were patient and didn't ask in the comments section what the price is. That never makes any sense to me why some people do that. Don't tell them that it's $144,730. Let's see what else you get for the price. The door bin's a little larger here in the front, but the same overall design, basically the same for the door panels on the front doors. You will find the Meridian sound system. You likely saw that with the rear doors with the speakers that were there. And all the controls for the power windows, doors, door locks, and your power seats. Now here with the seats in the front, seat memory for the driver and for the passenger over there. They're heated, they're ventilated, a lot going on. And here's how you open the glove box. We'll push that button right there to open the lower glove box, and this button opens the upper glove box. Now you will have to actually pull on that to open that. It doesn't open automatically when you push the button the way that the lower glove box does, but I don't think that's going to be a big problem for anybody who's going to say, I'm not buying that Land Rover or Range Rover SE because I don't want to have to pull on that upper glove box to open it. Well, you never know. Somebody is probably going to prove me wrong in the comments now. Whether they really mean it or not, it's still funny. Digital instrument cluster, a nice modern look. You can see what's going on there. And I did want to show you something here. Look at the time. It's 8:46 in the morning, and right here, it's 89 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what we're dealing with in Northwest Louisiana right now. It is a little on the warm side. And you're going to find a few things. A multitasker right here. We have the controls for your exterior lighting, and something that a lot of people like to save money on because they like to go and trade their vehicles in and say, I have brand new, unused turn signal bulbs, because you never use this lever by pushing it up or pushing it down. Some of you will laugh at that, and for those of you who don't, I'm probably talking about you. Yes, it's okay to laugh. And right here, I can't really say anything like that about that lever because people tend to use their front and rear window wipers. And as far as the steering wheel goes, it is good and comfortable, by the way. It's heated, and you have your steering wheel mounted controls here, all that good stuff. Now, one thing you might have noticed before we get to the screen, let me do one more thing. There is the control for your tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. It is power adjustable. Now, you notice that effect of movement on the Pivi Pro infotainment screen. That's not really happening. That has to do with my camera, so it's not a defect. So here's what we have. A lot going on here. You have all of your information with your vehicle right here. You can go in and actually get more of that. You have to push right there to do that. And you can go into your driving modes. For one thing, we have dynamic, we have comfort, eco, you have auto, terrain, and you also have your off-road right there. So quite a bit going on depending on what you need to do. Ride height with your air suspension, you can easily adjust that right here. You can leave it on auto and let the vehicle decide for you depending on what you need to do. So a lot going on. Driver assistance, you can determine how aggressive that is ultimately. So that's a good thing for those of you who want something like that. Now you do have your built-in navigation right here, but you also can pair your smartphone wirelessly and use whatever you want to off of your phone, depending on your personal desires where all of that is concerned. And we can push home and go back right there. You can see where you can connect your phone, everything for the radio, and a lot going on where you can learn about different things with the vehicle. You can also find out about the different things that are going on, even which direction your front tires are pointed. And that might seem kind of funny, but here's something interesting. It looks like the front wheels are pointed straight based on where the steering wheel is, but when you look over here, you can see they're turned to the left. So depending on what you're dealing with, well, that might come in handy. You just never know. And all the different information with angles and all of that. You can see what's going on. By the way, one thing I did forget to talk about earlier is that you have 4-wheel steering. So the rear wheels actually do turn, and so not a ton, but they do turn and help to improve your turning radius. And I'll just show you some of the different things that are here. Basically things we've already talked about, but different areas where you can go in and actually take advantage of making changes, whatever you need to do. You also have your wade sensing right here. That could come in handy in a lot of different areas, especially if you live in an area where it floods a lot. If you wanted to have a really high view, no tongue twists allowed here, the high view YouTube channel, well, you could actually take your Range Rover and show people what it can actually do by doing things they say nobody does, such as going off-road and things like that. So that would be interesting to try out. And you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as you can see right here. Valet mode. There's so much going on here. I'm not going to cover every single little thing, but one thing I do want to cover is the cameras, because you can see everything you need to here. Depending on what you need to see, well, you can find out what's going on from every single angle. Very nice to see that. I like that. I think that's a good thing. And then you can even go over here and see front, rear views, side views, every view possible with your Range Rover. You would expect to have all of that with this particular price point. So that's nice to have. Now, one thing you'll notice the lack of, in my opinion, I just don't see the value in it. Tell me what your thoughts are. But you have no physical controls for your air conditioning. That's all controlled right here in the screen. So you do have the heated and ventilated seats. They also have the massage function built in for these front seats. But that's what you do with that. I'm curious to know who likes it and who doesn't. Now, we'll also find a wireless charging pad. There's a USB port right there. Here's your shifter. I do have good things to say about that shifter because I like how it fits well in the palm of my hand. There's your button for turning the engine on and off. And we can also conceal away the cup holders if we so desire to. You'll find the cup holders right there conceal away some extra space. Quite a bit of space there. That's nice to have. And speaking of space, we have the space within. And if you notice a little bit of an edit between this scene and the last scene, it's because I don't have ventilated GoPro batteries. Hey GoPro, give me some ventilated batteries, just like these ventilated seats. But I was talking about the center console right here and about to make the point that at this price point, you would think it would be refrigerated, but there's some of you out there who may not want a refrigerated console. So that's a good thing. And you have the armrests right here that can obviously be positioned. You just use this little, I guess you call that a dial. I'm not sure what you call that. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comment section, but that's how you change the height. They are adjustable, but what's interesting here, kind of hidden away, hopefully you can see it on the video right here, is the fact that you have the illuminated belt buckles right here. That is light. That's actually not coming from the sun shining on anything. That's actually illuminated. Kind of an interesting thing as far as this model goes. And I don't know how well we're picking things up, but here is the upper console right here. On the left-hand side, you're going to control the positioning of the power shade. And if you want to open and close the sunroof, there's where you do that. And since you have so much that's controlled here within the infotainment screen, if you're looking for the auto stop-start system, whether you want to turn it on or you want to turn it off, here's where you do that. You can saw where I just pushed right here. I pushed mode right here, and then we go over here to drive. You can see that if you want to use auto brake hold, there that is, and there is the auto stop start. So you can turn that on or off right there depending on what your preferences are. And I talked about your drive assist features earlier for those who said, well Tom, what are those features? Well, here they are. Speed limit warning, forward collision warning, and lane assist. You also have high-speed braking. That's one thing that isn't here, but that's on the window sticker, so I know it's a feature that this model has. There's a lot going on here. If I covered every single thing, the video would likely be too long. And as promised earlier in the video, here is a sampling of the Meridian sound system. I hope my mic does a good job of picking this up for you. Hopefully that wasn't too loud, but hopefully it gave you a good idea of what it sounds like. I didn't make any changes to it, but it still has great quality as far as the sound goes. From my vantage point, you might just have to hop in here on your own at Land Rover of Shreveport and listen in person. And as I said in the video, if I covered everything that's here, this video would likely be too long. But one thing I did want to make sure I covered is the fact that you have a head-up display. I'm not sure how well my camera is picking it up, but it is there. It is nice and bright, and you can go into the screen and make adjustments. And out on the road for the test drive, I'll tell you what, very, very comfortable. It's really a very well-rounded SUV because it has a good, comfortable ride quality. In fact, it's so comfortable that you can find yourself driving a little over the speed limit compared to what you should be doing. That's why I'm going to slow down a little bit. Not much, but it's just one of those things where it did not feel like I was driving over the speed limit. Very smooth, very comfortable, and obviously very adjustable. Depending on what your situation is and what you need to do, well, you can make the appropriate changes to the vehicle. So that's always nice to have. And something that's very interesting to consider, a lot of people don't think about this, but when it comes to ride quality, you can have shocks and suspension that make for a comfortable ride quality, but the seats don't help. Or it can be the other way around, uncomfortable seats, or excuse me, comfortable seats and a uncomfortable ride quality overall from your shocks and suspension. But in this case, not an issue. The balance is there. It's very comfortable in every way, form, and fashion. Also, you have the room, the interior space here that definitely makes it possible for somebody who is well in excess of 6 feet tall to drive this Range Rover. I have plenty of space. I'm 5'10", so I'm not real tall, about average, but I have more than enough room here as far as head space and leg room and all of that, and I could adjust things a lot more than what I already have if I wanted to. So very comfortable interior overall. It's roomy. The front seat, the back seat, plenty of cargo space, a lot going on there. And some people might look at the technology here and say, I'm not sure about that, Tom. There's a lot there. It looks complicated. Well, I can tell you this, there is a lot there, but that doesn't mean that it's difficult to learn and use. And so if that's a concern, don't let that bother you. And we'll listen here over the railroad tracks. Got a little bit of noise, but I didn't really notice going over the tracks very much. That really solidifies that nice ride quality. And I'll tell you what, when you need to go, it will definitely get up and go. Plenty of horsepower and torque. That goes without saying. So when you need to accelerate around slower moving vehicles, or whatever the situation is, you're not going to have any trouble at all where that is concerned. So a very enjoyable vehicle to drive in so many different ways. But you know what? When you just need to enjoy the drive and not go that fast, well, you can do that. If you want to have a spirited drive, if you need to go around a slower moving vehicle that pulled out in front of you, that's driving about 18 or 20 miles an hour under the speed limit, you can do that too. And it's easy to see out of. I like that. The one thing I wish we did have was the clear sight rear view mirror. Not here, but that is something I would like to see. But in this particular case, I don't necessarily need it. I can still see out of the windows very well. The back window being nice and tall, that sure helps that as well. So when it comes to overall versatility, I think there's a lot going on here. It really checks off pretty much all of the boxes. The one thing I have to say I would change, it depends on where you set the armrests that are built into these seats, but for me, I don't think they even need to be here. The height of the center armrest is easily used as an armrest, so to me, these don't even need to be here. Just my thought on the matter. Someone else might say, Tom, I really like those built-in armrests. They need to stay. Okay, tell me what you think about the 2025 Range Rover SE. Is this the SUV of your dreams? Tell me what you think. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport for loaning me this Range Rover for the day so I can tell you all about it. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.